You're only responsible for your own actions, your words, your actions. That's all you're responsible for. You're not responsible for what your husband or what your wife does. If your wife or husband is behaving in a way that you don't like, or that's upsetting you or whatever, or there's a few things you need to do, but you also need to realize it's not your responsibility to change them. So firstly, you do need to have a conversation about it. Not nag and complain about it, but just have an honest conversation and say, hey, can I please talk to you about something? And when it's a good time, lovingly bring it up, not in an accusing way, not in an attacking way, but just say, hey, I need to have a conversation with you, and bring up whatever the behavior is or whatever the issue is that is upsetting you. Now, once you've done that, they'll either receive that and be like, okay, cool, I didn't realize, I'm sorry or whatever, or they won't. And they might get defensive about it and be like, no, there's nothing wrong with that, blah, blah, blah. Now, whatever happens after that is not your responsibility. You've done your part. You've raised it kindly. You've done your best to bring up the issue, hoping there's going to be a resolution. Now, if they don't listen straight away, that's okay. You've raised it. Now you can just pray and say, God, I surrender this to you. I've tried bringing it up with them. I've spoken to them about it. Now you just switch to praying for them and pray, God, please help them in this area. And now you don't nag them. You just you stay unconditional in your love towards them. You keep being kind, patient, respectful, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you're believing that God's going to help you and that He's going to bring breakthrough in whatever this area is. And you don't have to be miserable while you're waiting for this change to happen or waiting for this breakthrough to happen or whatever. You have full permission to still be free and happy and joyful and content, because it's not your job to change the other person. It's your job to love the other person. And if anything, be grateful for the opportunity to test your love. If your spouse was only ever perfect towards you, you'd never have any opportunities to test whether you really love them or not. But if they're going through a patch where, maybe they're not treating you as good as you want them to treat you, or they're doing something you don't like that they're doing or whatever, if you can stay patient, kind, loving, respectful, then it's proving your love towards them, and it's an opportunity to grow your own character. It's an opportunity for character growth for yourself. So they're the 3 steps. It's bring it up in a loving conversation at a good time. If they receive it, awesome. If they don't, then you pray about it. You surrender it to God. You don't keep trying to change them in your own effort. You surrender it to God. Say, God, I've had a conversation. I've done my part. I've raised it. I've spoken about it with them. They haven't received it for whatever reason. Now you surrender it to God. God, I surrender it to you. I trust that you'll take care of this situation. And if there's anything unfair being done towards you, you trust God. Obviously if there's serious, like domestic violence happening and stuff like that, obviously, do whatever you need to do, whether it's a healthy separation, call the police, or whatever it is. But, for most other issues that are not that serious, you've done your part. You raise it, you leave it to God. And then thirdly, while you're waiting, however long it takes for that issue to be addressed, to be changed, whatever, you see it as an opportunity for your own character growth. And for me, this is the best way. It keeps you in peace, in joy. It stops you from worrying about stuff that's outside of your control, and it also grows your own character, and it pleases God as well. You're showing to God that you trust Him to take care of the situation for you. But it really is important that you have that conversation first, because some people are too afraid of conflict that they won't even bring it up. They'll just hope that God fixes the situation, and they never even have the courage to bring it up with their spouse. So you need to have the courage to have an honest conversation. But then once you've addressed it once, maybe even twice, that's it. You don't keep bringing it up and fighting about it. Remember, it takes 2 people to fight. There's no such thing as a fight that can't be resolved. If your spouse wants to fight, that's fine. You don't have to cooperate. You can leave the room. There's no such thing as a fight that's unavoidable.